welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, November 28, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, is facing another setback with its election petition cases. On Tuesday, High Court Judge Justice Esco Henry dismissed for the second time another application by the NDP's legal team for disclosure of documents in the election petition cases currently before the court. The NDP had previously requested that the court allows for the inspection of ballot boxes used in the December 2015 general election, but the request was denied, and on Tuesday a further application was again denied for a specific disclosure of certain election documents used in the Central Leeward constituency, such as the statement of rejected ballot papers. The NDP continues to maintain that the December 2015 elections in Central Leeward and North Windward were fraught with irregularities and has taken the matter to the court, which has gone through several hearings and rulings. In an interview with SVGTV News via the telephone, NDP Senator and lawyer K. Bacchus-Batiste said they filed an application on Tuesday to strengthen their case and that the ruling does not affect anything and she does not see it as a defeat.
The ruling is just an extension of our application to view the ballot boxes, which would have been the ballots and the counterfoils. This would have been far more important. But these were just election documents, like the Form 16s and some of the returns, etc. So it really does not change anything at all as regards our preparation and our readiness and the strength of our case. Absolutely nothing has changed. It would have been more for the public to see certain documents rather than impacting, on the importance for our case. The important thing is that they had offered us to see 4 boxes, and we refused it. Wisely so. We know why we refused it. They wanted to limit us to 4 boxes. What is the fair? What was their fair? Why they only wanted to limit us to 4 boxes? Why couldn't we see all the boxes? Those are the questions that persons should be asking. You see? However, for legal arguments, that's the only reason why we weren't granted to see it. And I mean, the judgment was given months ago. So this one was just a follow-up to that judgment. It hasn't changed anything.
The court on Tuesday also ruled that the matter, which is listed for a December 3rd hearing, will on the same day hear submissions from counsel for the respondents, Sir Louis Straker and Montgomery Daniel, on whether the trial dates of December 3rd to 7th should be vacated due to the unavailability of lead counsel Graham Bullis, who is currently on medical leave. But he said this is an excuse by the respondents to have the trial vacated, and they're not buying into it.
One of their lawyers is sick. And that does not make sense. There are 7 or 8 lawyers defending the petition, the respondents. Some of them far more experienced than Mr. Bullis. Yet they're saying that because he is sick, the trial should be vacated. And of course, we are resisting that. And again, the question is, why should the trial be vacated? Petitions which were filed almost 3 years ago be vacated because one lawyer who has another lawyer who is acting for the same party whom he represents, why should the trial be vacated because of that? This is far too important. It has to do with the rights under the Constitution to have a fair trial and early trial, especially for an election matter.
In light of the proposed sale of the operations of Scotiabank SVG and in 8 other Caribbean countries to the Trinidad-based Republic Financial Holdings Limited, the union representing local employees of the bank says there will be no retrenchment, at least for now. General Secretary of the Commercial Technical Allied Workers Union, the CTAW, Joseph Burns-Bernardi, says he will be meeting with the staff of Scotiabank SVG before this week is out to ensure their rights as unionized workers are not breached. Bernardi says though the union and the staff were given short notice of the sale, the management of the Canadian bank has been cooperating well.
Inquiries in relation to the staff, I think for now, because this transaction is not going to take place in several months from now. But as far as St. Vincent and the Grenadines is concerned, the staff here they're okay for now. I think most of the attrition to take place in the bank had already taken place prior to this grand announcement by the bank. So I meeting with the workers. I gave the manager, met with them yesterday after work. So I'm in touch with the Human Resource Department of the bank, and I have already indicated to them that I will, at the appropriate time, speak to all the workers at the bank, and they are cooperating.
Bernardi said even though the details are still sketchy on the future of the bank and its employees, he plans to meet with Scotiabank's Managing Director for the Eastern Caribbean, David Parks, who is expected to visit SVG sometime next week. The trade unionist, however, noted that the sale of Scotiabank did not come as a surprise, as certain changes with regards to staff locally were already taking place. He said some persons were given severance packages while others were transferred out of state. However, all this was done with the agreement of the union.
Already were paid severance beyond our contract, our union contract. They were paid the severance pay. Those who left exited the bank prior to this announcement.
How long ago was that?
Oh, it's been going on over a period of the last year or so, certain positions. And that's why I talked about the attrition. They moved jobs here to Trinidad and Tobago. So a lot of the staff here, who, not a lot, not plenty persons, but in specific areas, those jobs have been filtering out because they were consolidating in the Human Resource Department. Of course, the head is in Jamaica, then a lot of the positions are in Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. So jobs that people did here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines were transferred out. And of course, we still have a problem with that because although the jobs went to Trinidad, a lot of the work was still being sent back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to finalize.
As to the way forward, Bernardi said the union will be seeking to have a new collective bargaining agreement, which will be raised at the meeting with the Eastern Caribbean Managing Director of Scotiabank.
We are in discussions right now with a new collective agreement with Scotiabank. So that would be on the table when Mr. Parks comes to St. Vincent, because he's the Managing Director for the Caribbean East. So, but we do not expect any retrenchment when the new entity takes over. Not at this time. Of course, we had already gone through the process where you notice from the release, the insurance aspect of the bank has been sold to, I think, Surgical. So we had been going through that process before. So we're going to protect the workers.
Chairman of the Police and Public Service Commission, Cecil Blazer Williams, is encouraging public servants to create an environment of love within their workplace. At the recent closing ceremony for a 6-month-long public service development program, Williams said public servants come from various backgrounds and face their own unique life challenges. Hence, it is important for public servants to show each other love in order to take the service forward.
Find out, well, and you might not believe this, but is this person a single parent with 3-4 children? Where does this person live? Georgetown, Chateaubriand, do they have to travel and that sort of thing? What is the domestic situation like? What is the personal situation like? And so when your co-workers, maybe you're promoted, maybe you are more qualified, I have a BSc or what, you have to understand that we are living in a world where human beings exist and they live in a particular way. Their quality of life is of a certain standard, and the idea about love is to make sure that their standard of living improves.
Williams added that this love must also be seen in the way public servants carry out their duties and interact with the public.
Situations, you don't tell a member of the public, you can't read. Look at they can't read. No. You don't do that. If something is there, and say, could you? Yes, ma'am. Just look. This is what it says. Okay. You don't have to talk to people in a manner that would embarrass them. Okay. No matter how you feel, you might have your own personal frustration. Don't let it out on the public. And this is the whole concept of working with love. You have to be committed to your work. If you're committed to your work, okay, this is what I am doing. I love what I'm doing. And the purpose of what I'm doing is to ensure that the public is properly served, that they're satisfied.
4 students of the University of the West Indies Open Campus received bursaries worth $2,000 at a ceremony held today at the UWI Open Campus Conference Room. The bursaries will assist the students to pay their tuition fees for the 2018-2019 academic year. Program Officer at the UWI Open Campus, Monica Brown, said the Eastern Caribbean Group of Companies, ECGC, has been providing bursaries to students since 2016 and has so far assisted 8 students. She noted that it is because of the students' fine academic performance they were awarded the bursary and challenged them to keep up the good work.
Indeed, a remarkable gesture by the foundation, and which the site and our recipients are profoundly grateful. As you all know, one of the criterions for the receipt of this bursary is the academic performance. So the main fact that you are here, that's why we do not really give it to first-year students. It have to be students who are going into their second year. So we'd have done 1 year and then you go into the second year. Because of that, we have to judge what you would have done in your first year. And that is the reason why you're here, because you would have done very well in your academic pursuits, and that's the reason why you're here. Thus, the fact that you are recipients of this semester means that you would have been doing very well so far, and that we truly congratulate you and encourage you to continue to do well, despite the many challenges, of course, because we know the many challenges that you face day to day, because you are working persons, you have families, and that sort of thing. But despite all of that, we do encourage you to continue to do your best.
Director of the ECGC Foundation, Dr. Wayne Murray, said the foundation is pleased to play a role assisting Vincentians in attaining higher education. He, however, noted that academic performance is not the only requirement for the bursary, as the foundation often seeks to assist those in need.
Good performance, but of course it's really based on needs, and we take it very, very seriously. As you've seen, we have increased the numbers. We have chosen the concept that persons, though, need assistance for their health, etc., but people who are employed, who are educated, and who are doing very well need less of our help, because in those areas, because they have insurance, they have their jobs, and they're less likely to be in need. And the investment in someone who is ill can be very significant. But even though the contributions which we give for the individuals individually for the open campus, it may not seem significant to many, but of course this is an open campus. Most everyone here have a full-time job or family. They have mortgages, they have different things, and therefore just knowing that that you do not have to think about the registrar calling and asking, will you receive the payment to complete your course?
Meanwhile, bursary recipient Giovanni Brown expressed gratitude to the ECGC Foundation and the UWI for the investment.
So I'd like to thank the ECGC Foundation for investing in the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As Mr. Murray would have alluded to earlier, we are also the consumers of the rice the chicken that comes from the feed that feeds the chicken. So it's only just that we get back something from the ECGC. But with that being said, it's on behalf of, well, I know for myself, and I could speak for my colleagues because I know we have relatives, we have friends, we have colleagues who would have encouraged us along the way, whether to start this journey, to continue, and in the future, those persons would also be the persons to urge us to continue to finish and also to continue to do other qualifications and develop ourselves. Because the more we develop ourselves, the more we develop our institutions, the more we develop our country at large. So when you look at this little, well, I can't say little, but when you look in the grand scheme of things, this portion of investment into a student may seem insignificant from just looking at it from afar. But when you go and you look at it closely and you see it's a piece of the puzzle that guides a student towards obtaining the bigger picture, you definitely cannot underrate it. And for that, on behalf of students, relatives, colleagues, and the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in general, thank you to the ECGC and to the UWI Open Campus for offering this opportunity to myself and my colleagues.
Persons interested in getting involved in the playing of steel pan are being given another opportunity to do so with the newest steel pan entity, XST Inc, launched yesterday at the Murray Heights Hotel. Chairperson of XST Inc, Cecil Ryan, said through music literacy, the new steel pan entity will assist persons in gaining a greater understanding of the fundamentals of steel pan. He said membership is not limited by geographical location, thus giving a large pool of Vincentians the opportunity to be part of a steel orchestra.
Players will be introduced to other professional dimensions like reading music scores and creating music notation. It is our view that this approach is more likely to produce more rounded players, composers, arrangers, tuners, and other professionals in the fraternity. In keeping with the ultimate goal of XS, beyond the chords, older players will have the opportunity to provide mentorship to younger ones. XS is a membership-based body. Membership is not restricted by geography or any other consideration. This is to ensure the broadest participation in all areas of policy, program, and civic affairs. Accordingly, on an ongoing basis, functional committees will be set up to ensure effective functioning.
Ryan said XS Steel will also put in place programs and incorporate new initiatives to change the way the steel pan art form is viewed by Vincentians.
First and foremost, XS is an instrument for change. Change in the attitude and approach towards the pan instrument in St. Vincent and the Grenadines generally. Change in the attitude of players and other musicians towards the playing of the instrument. And change in the conception and use of the instrument for mere entertainment to one of fulfilling the purposes of entertainment and enjoyment, and as well a facilitator and an enabler for development. In fulfillment of this mission, XS sees itself as a movement, a project, and an enterprise simultaneously. As a movement, the mission takes the form of a platform for mobilizing and organizing resources for personal and community development, and specifically for older persons to offer positive guidance, share experiences and life skills with younger ones.
Cultural Officer Anthony Tibbles said while it is important for the organization to ensure that the youth are properly guided and mentored, it is equally important for the youth members to pay close attention to their mentors.
Not hearing, listening. I find we are now in an age of cell phones and other electronic gadgetry, and we have forgotten how to listen. The elders have a lot to teach you, but you have to be willing to listen, not just hear. Hair comes in one ear, goes out the next. Don't remember anything he said 4 minutes from now. Listening requires you to remember, to stay focused, to concentrate, to be in the moment, and to take the moment with you going forward.
As part of its educational drive to make Vincentians more aware of the HIV/AIDS epidemic and its effects, the local HIV/AIDS unit is hosting several outreach activities in the Kingstown area. The unit has partnered with Massey stores where they have set up an information desk and persons are allowed to ask any related questions about the virus. Assistant Director of the HIV/AIDS unit, Azonia Van Morris, said that they are satisfied with the feedback they received from persons visiting the information desk.
The response has been good. Persons, employees, customers have been coming in asking questions. They've been asking for, condom demonstrations, and, we have condoms giving away as well. So the response has been good thus far. And I think that as people become more aware of the fact that we are doing this, in the other Massey stores, that they will take the opportunity to come and learn about HIV and AIDS.
The team from the HIV/AIDS unit was at the Massey store at Stony Ground today and will be at the Massey store in Honnestville on Thursday. On Friday, November 30th, testing will be done at the Red Cross in Kingstown from 9 in the morning. World AIDS Day will be observed on December 1st, and on that day, testing will be carried out at various locations across the country.
There are also going to be places open on Saturday for testing, so the Planned Parenthood is making services available on Saturday for testing from 9 a.m. and there's also going to be testing at Sandy Bay Clinic from 9 a.m. so that is through two non-governmental organizations that work along with us, Vinci Chap and Care SVG. So they are going to be providing those testing services in Sandy Bay. And the National AIDS Secretariat, we will be testing as well. We are just trying to finalize where we will be, so we want people to just keep an ear out as we finalize where we will be offering our testing services on Saturday. And it's a good time for people to get tested. It's end of month, people are going to be there in the hustle and bustle, and we just want to remind you that, don't get caught up in everything else and try to take advantage of the opportunity that we're given and the services that we're trying to provide to the general population.
The Center for Enterprise Development, Inc., CED, will next week introduce its stakeholder agencies in SVG to a new tool that will help to improve financial knowledge among small and micro business owners, including young entrepreneurs. This will be done through a 2.5 days micro business game simulation workshop, which will run from December 3rd to 5th. CED said the objective of the workshop is to sensitize stakeholders about the micro business games as part of the Savings Banks Foundation for International Corporations, SBFIC, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank endorsed project to support the strengthening of the financial sector and improvement of access to financial services in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union by small and medium enterprises. Participants in the simulation workshop will be taught the principles of managing a business and how to deal with possible challenges and opportunities. The workshop will take place at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Conference Room from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the first 2 days and from 9 a.m. to 12 noon on the final day. The presentations will be conducted by CED Training Coordinator Keisha Phillips and Business Development Field Officer Nisha Glasgow.